everyone, and welcome to our new podcast series. We are Feenix Films, and this is Feenix Films Presents DIY Filmmaking. As we are just getting this started, and you're, of course, just joining us, we thought we'd give you a little bit of an introduction of why we're doing this, why this podcast actually means a lot to us as well, and then kind of go a little bit into who we are. So you get to know us better, because hopefully we're going to be around for quite a while. So my name is Nick, and Dave and Kate are also here to join us. Janine is the fourth member of the company. She could not be with us tonight, but she will be here on future episodes. So I guess talking about what we're doing here and why we're doing this podcast, Dave, do you want to kind of give an idea of what our objective is?
Yeah, sure. The podcast idea was actually suggested by one of our close ensemble members who's been with us since we started, Chris Ryan, and his thought was the thing that makes Feenix kind of interesting is the fact that the company was founded by actors, which is what we all were, and on top of that, we started in 2008 when the whole DIY craze was first kind of starting for people, where people realized, like, you know, I can go and rent or buy a camera and make my own movie, and it's not going to cost, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So Chris said he felt we were in a unique position, since this is now, you know, many years later from 2008, and we've now made 5 features and 3 shorts. And we've learned along the way and had a lot of hurdles thrown in our way from people within and without the industry, and that's something, unfortunately, you are definitely going to come across. So we all talked about it, and we felt like, well, you know what, there might be some aspiring filmmakers or people who might even be veteran filmmakers who just kind of enjoy hearing how a group of 4 people who were actors have learned the filmmaking business and have now become not just actors but writers, producers, directors, editors, promotional people, PR people. We've kind of had to learn to do all those things, and the old thought process of you know, you are really limited in what you can do is really kind of out the window nowadays. So it's something we thought about, and you know, it's something we're looking forward to kind of presenting to everybody, and you know, just helping out in any way that we can. The filmmaking community is a very collaborative effort, and for anyone who thinks it isn't, you know, I would say they are perhaps mistaken. So we kind of want to share our experience as a group of friends, but also professionals and business people who have managed to do things that a lot of people told us we couldn't, which is, I think, a story many people have experienced as well. So we're not unique in that sense, but we can share some of our insights. So, any thoughts you guys have?
Kate?
I think that one of the key things with us was we obviously became friends actually as actors, you know, and we, like Dave said, we felt like we were kind of hitting our head against a brick wall, because you are treated very much like a product, and oftentimes feel like you don't have a voice, even though your job is to lend voice to characters on, you know, on stage or on screen, you know. So what we all had, you know, in our minds was how important it was to be hyphenated in this business, and that we are the ones who are trained, not the people sitting at desks judging you if you're not thin enough or tall enough, or, you know, you don't have a, you know, a bigger agent or something like that. So we realized that the power is in creating your own work and having your voice be heard. And a lot of the people that we have seen become great successes are people that have written their own stuff and produced and pitched it. And those are the people that we all admire, you know. So that's what I think it is not treating yourself like a product and realizing what you have to give. And luckily, I work with people in this company who were sick of that and wanted to change it for themselves and for the people that they worked with and studied with who deserved it as well. So.
You know, there are those elite people who, some of whom are very talented, but all of whom are very lucky to succeed right out of the gate, doing it exactly what they want to do, whether it's acting or directing or what have you, in any medium. Everyone else, if you stick with it long enough, I think you get to a point where you reluctantly realize that you're going to need to learn more than what you know. You know, it's kind of what you were saying, wearing many hats and everything. And, you know, it can be a very tough thing to learn, because what you really want to do with your time is the thing that you love the most, even if it's 2 or 3 things. That's really all you want to do. I know that's the case for me, and you can't unless you're successful, boom, or somebody's got your back, or you happen to have a bunch of friends who do things for you for some reason. You have to learn how to do a lot yourself. And we started, 7 years ago, knowing some of that, but not very much. And step by step, we each learned to do so many things. And we also learned things that we don't do as well as we'd like to. We learned how to find those people to do them, do those things for us. And like Dave, like you said earlier, Dave, it's a collaborative field, and you have to be willing to seek out others and work with them when the time comes. And as much as you may want to pursue something on your own, I personally don't think you can get nearly as far doing that in any field of the arts unless you find people who are willing to take that journey with you.
And that's the thing, is a lot of us have experience in producing our own works on our own. I know Nick has produced his music for years, and I made a film short in 2003 or 4, and Dave and Janine put together a show and produced a show, but we didn't have people really backing us for real. And Nick, like you said, you want to find people, unless you have people who have your back right out of college or high school or whatever, you have to find those people for yourself that you really trust, and you trust to take your career seriously, so the way you do. So that's the trick, really, is to find people that will have your back and believe in you just like you do them.
Yeah, I think I agree. I agree with both of you guys. It's I think finding people that you like outside of just the film or the acting and stuff, I think is really important. I think that's like I don't want to call it a trick, but I think that's like when we've spoken to other people and they've asked us, like, well, how do you all work together? And it's so difficult to keep a group of people, never mind a group of creative people together. Like, how do you do it? And it's not really, there's no real secret to it. It's just that we actually like each other. And if none of us did acting or writing or anything creative, I think we would still enjoy. Not I think, I know we would still enjoy hanging out and joking around and laughing, and there's just like a natural feeling of, hey, I really like this person. I think this is a good person. So, that's something that I think is really big, because as things get stressful or challenging, like, you need to know, like, hey, this is a good person. I know I can trust them as a human being, and that's something that I think. Every experience has its ups and downs and its waves and stuff. And, if you already have like a fractured foundation because there's mistrust or there's been dishonesty or whatever, you know, that can just make those cracks in the foundation even bigger, and your whole building can fall. And I think the thing that we worked on just as people, never mind any of the film stuff, is the fact that, like, you know, hey, let's all be honest with each other, and let's really let's have each other's back just as normal folks. And so when those waves do hit your ship, it's not like your whole ship crumbles because it wasn't assembled correctly from the start. And I think that's been something that we were huge on when we first started the company, and we were coming up with, you know, the operating agreement. And then when we went through some transitions, and, you know, people were kind of coming and going, we always knew like what the direction was that we wanted to sail in, and what our charter was, and what we were about, and what, you know, primarily the four of us were about. You know, and then people that didn't necessarily respond to that as positively as the four of us did, you know, they could leave. We always said when we asked people to join up, you know, this isn't the mafia. If you're not happy, you can go. And some people have been more than happy to take us up on that offer, and, you know, other people have been more than happy to come in. So, and that's fine. You know, that's part of it. But the core group of us, we've always realized how important it was to, you know, talk and communicate. Especially, you know, then when you get to finally do what you love, which is make a movie, which, you know, you go through a year or two of planning, and then you get to actually make a movie, and it's like, you know, Christmas Day for like, you know, 4 months or 2 months or whatever. Every day you shoot, it's like, it's Christmas, we're opening up presents today, you know. And then you have to go back to, you got to go back to non-Christmas days. But all that planning that you do allows you to have, when you have a shoot, which can be extremely stressful, it gives you that opportunity to just say, like, well, you know, I know what our team is about, and I know what we're trying to do here. So I think that communication that the four of us do is something that's really important to having, like, a really good film family, in my feeling.
It's not to say that it's always easy, you know, like,
No.
some of the best, I mean, all of, I think, the best families are incredibly honest with each other, and they argue. We've gone to bat with each other, but like I said, and like Dave and Nick have said, we have the common thread is, number one, that we're friends, and we were friends before Feenix was even founded, you know, and two, we care so much about what this company's about, you know, and how it is about new voices and good stories, good characters, hardworking people. So, you know, there are tough times that you're going to have to kind of sit through and deal with. But if the friendship's there and you have the foundation, it doesn't matter, because, you know, the positive outweighs any of that by, you know, thousands. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think to kind of apply this a little bit to how others might do it, I really try to think way back to what even got us in this position to be able to know each other and work together like this. And I think the main thing is, first and foremost, we just got out there. We you know, we met in class, and that's obviously one great way to you know, meet like-minded people. You could meet on a project, in a play, in a movie, or whatever, especially when you're starting. And this I think applies to anyone, not just actors. But don't be afraid to do things that you don't think are going to, you know, give you much of a career boost. Because in the beginning, first of all, you need the experience, but to apply it to this, you need to meet people. You need to get to know people, and you never know who you're going to meet on any one given project that you might end up working on something even better with later on. And I really think that for all those people out there who are sitting, you know, at home or wherever watching this, wondering, well, yeah, it's, you know, you guys just got lucky and you found each other, and you happen to know how to work together, and you like and respect each other, all these things we're saying. But where does that leave me? Well, you know, honestly, if you're watching this during the day, what I would say is shut this thing off right when it's done and after you checked out our website, and go meet people, go out there, do auditions, do whatever you can do. The more you do that, I mean, it took us years to get to the point where we knew each other well enough and were disgruntled enough to want to get something started on our own, and we knew that we could trust each other. And if you get out there and do this, the same thing could happen to you.
You know, when we, Janine, who's the other member that isn't here today, when we started this theater company that we did, which was like the first time we did something on our own, and we were like, hey, we want to be the producers of this thing. You know, we knew Nick, Kate, and Janine and I mean, Janine and I knew each other a little bit more, but you know, I didn't know Nick and Kate as well as I do now, and I remember they came in to audition for the show, and the director was against casting them. And I remember then why this is interesting is that it bothered me, and it didn't just bother me like, oh well, I like them from class. It was like, no, this like kind of pisses me off that this happened. And as time went on, it continued to piss me off. And when we finally started doing our own, because doing a theater show was exhausting, and then, you know, you finish it, and it was still great because you made contacts, and a lot of those contacts led us to ultimately to Feenix. But you realize, like, you can reach so many more people by doing film nowadays, or doing some form of recorded media or content or whatever. And as we started to delve into that and get more into that, it still bothered me this time later that, you know, Nick and Kate hadn't been cast. So Nick got cast in this thing we did that wasn't even, Feenix didn't even exist yet. It was this other production company, 2 other production companies. And then later on, Kate's name was brought up, I think by Nick, and said, well, what about bringing in Kate? And there was that thing. So this little seed that had agitated me at that point, like a year and a half to 2 years before, when they weren't cast in this project. And Nick, I remember saying to you one time for that audition, I said, you know, Nick, granted, you're the type of actor that we're starting this theater company for. And, you know, you were like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. And then you didn't get cast in it. And I was like, the director just made me look like an ass, you know, and and it was aggravating. And I think the thing that's cool is that, you know, when something's meant to happen, you might go through all of these other roads and ways of getting there, and ultimately at the end, come 2008, 2009, the 4 of us were working together. And I think that's something to think about when you're doing these classes, which are, you know, if there's certain people or shows or whatever, if there's somebody that really kind of like you like and you feel they're a good person, you know, think about that. Like, this might be a collaborator and a friend and someone that you're really going to be able to work with. You know, it might be that collaborative partnership you're looking for down the road that just hasn't fully grown yet into something. It's kind of a seed or something. But yeah, I just thought that was, you know, as you were talking, something to kind of mention, that you don't always know where things are going to end up either.
Well, and that's why it's important to have conversations. You know, I'm saying this before, but the thing is having these kinds of conversations with friends and even like relatives or people that you work with, because there are a lot of people who are really passionate about the same things that you are, and like Dave said, you never know where it's going to lead. So, you know, I was told years ago by a teacher, have conversations like this with people, anybody, and you'll find collaborators, you know, and it does lead to success, absolutely.
All right, well, that's great. I think we shared a lot of information, kind of gave you a really good idea of who we are, what we're about, what we're trying to do here, and maybe hopefully gave you some helpful hints to if everyone out there wants to do the same thing. This was a pretty broad topic, and as it's our first kind of introductory episode, it's running a little longer than what our other episodes will be, but we really wanted to kind of give you a flavor of everything. Like to thank everyone for watching. If you have any comments, questions, put them below. We'll also put any links or anything else, more information that we have, a little bit more about who we are underneath. You can see that there. And don't hesitate, if you want to know a little more about us, to visit feenixfilms.com, which we'll also put up as a link here. And other than that, I guess thanks on behalf of Dave and Kate and the absent Janine. I'd like to thank everybody. My name's Nick, and we will see you next time.